Hi guys, welcome to the video. So today we'll continue with the map creation process, and we'll still be focusing on the sixth step where we are making most of the entities. So as I mentioned in the last video, we'll add some wild animals that will be protecting the forests and also this area because I want to add some spiders here. So let's just start right away. I will swap to a neutral hostile player up here, and then we will go to neutral entities, units, and wolves. There are like 4 different types of wolves. The white wolf is the strongest one, then the other ones are a little bit weaker, so maybe we'll add the white wolf somewhere like a little boss, let's say, so you can kill him and maybe receive some treasure or at least resources, and the rest of those wolves will be just randomly spread around in the forest, but you don't really need to kill them or anything. So the white wolf might be maybe here. As you can see, there is space between the trees, so you will be able to walk here with your units. We will just rotate him a little bit, and let's actually just right click on him and choose some resources that you will receive when he dies. So maybe we could do like 250 gems. That might be interesting, so let's keep it like this. And then I will go back down here because in the last episode we added some healing potions here, so I want to add some wolves here to protect it, so it's not just so easy to pick up. So we'll use some dire wolves and grey wolves. I will also use the rotate function, so it looks more natural, and we'll add like three dire wolves and maybe like 4 grey wolves, so it should be okay like this. You cannot actually change the stats of those neutral units, because if you press Ctrl Enter and open the player properties and go to tech tree, then you can only choose from player 1 to 12, but there are no neutral players, so you cannot change those units. If you want to add like wildlife units that will have different stats, then the best way to do that is just to create another player. Yeah, you can name him like wildlife or something like that, nature, and then give him the gray color, and you can just use him like this. But I mean, I don't really care if we change the stats right now, so I will keep it like this. As I mentioned in the default, all of those wolves are pretty weak. The only one that's a little bit stronger is the white wolf, so he is right here. I will also add some more wolves into those forests. There are no treasures, but you can still go here and get some resources from this white wolf. And overall, I just want to have those forests a little bit protected, so you cannot just freely walk through them. But of course, it's something that you don't have to do. It's just a personal preference, let's say. So I will just add like one wolf into each forest. Maybe not here because there are already some enemies, so that wouldn't be too good. So now let's go for some bears. Bear is actually a pretty strong unit. Yeah, he has like 1600 HP and I believe like 80 damage. So it's pretty strong unit. You don't want to place too many of them somewhere. But again, I would want to have at least one of them somewhere, so we can really utilize all the options that we have here. So maybe we might place him right like here, because I believe we didn't place any walls here, and there is a small forest, so let's place him maybe on this position. The triggered AIs won't really care about him, yeah, even though he's probably in the range of this totem. The totem won't attack him, yeah, even if he had some army here, he will just ignore him, yeah. So all those natural enemies are just for you. So that's actually pretty good for us, because we don't have to worry about the bear getting killed by this yellow enemy. So again, I will just place some resources here. As I said, he's really strong, so maybe like 500 wood and 600 gold. Yeah, that will be a lot of resources, but as I mentioned, he's pretty strong. And of course, don't forget to save your progress, yeah, with Control S, or just go to File and Save. So now we'll go for those spiders. So here we have spiders tab, and as you can see, there is like 9 spiders or something. So you have really a lot of options. We have those spiders, yeah, those are the weakest ones. Then you have pale spider and poison spider. Those are a little bit stronger, and they are melee as this spider. And then you have pale spitter and poison spitter, and those are the only range spiders. So yeah, so they will be spitting some poison. Basically, all the spider damage is always poison, so it will slow the enemy, slow his attack speed, and it will also add some overtime damage. And then you have the black spider. That's like the medium-sized spider. Yeah, he's stronger than any of those little spiders, but he's not the strongest one. And then you have those 3 really huge spiders. You have giant spider, dark widow, and venom spider. So those are really strong. Yeah, they have like 900 HP and probably like 30 attack or something. So you want to be probably quite careful with those, not put too many of them there. Uh, so I mean, this part of the forest is already full of those ghosts, so I will avoid this area, but we can definitely fill those areas with some spiders and maybe even some in the back here. So I will start with the big spiders. So let's start with Venom Spider. I will place him right here. Yeah, I'm placing him not like here close to the edge, because you might be able to kill him from below with some range units, and that wouldn't be too entertaining, let's say. So I'm placing him a little bit more in the center of this cliff, so he's protected from any ranged units. Of course, if I give the player one some flying units that can attack ground units, then you can easily kill basically anything with flying units, but of course that's a little bit special situation, let's say. So we'll have the Venom Spider here, and then I will have the Dark Widow on this side, and maybe we can also put the Giant Spider somewhere back in here, so maybe behind this tree. So he's like lurking here. I don't think you will pull him if you go to the underground, but if you try to explore this area, you will get attacked by him and you will have to defeat him. Then we can also use some of those black spiders. Yeah, again, I will use the rotate option because we want to have some randomness here. And I will place at least 3 of them on each cliff. And maybe even some of them back here, but maybe let's just keep it like this. I don't think we'll need to put any more of those spiders here, because as I mentioned, down here we have lots of those ghosts and phantoms and deep elf spirits and all of those other units. So let's just take some poison spiders. Since we have the venom spider, I think it will be a really good theme to have those poison spiders on this side. So let's choose 2 poison spiders and let's say 3 poison spitters. Maybe we can even put some of them here on this edge so they can shoot down here. And then I will use the pale spiders and pale spitters, which are a little bit weaker than the poison spiders and poison spitters, and we will put them on this side. Again, maybe one closer to the edge. There's the spitter, and then some pale spiders here. Then we have the normal spiders, but we don't really have too much space left. So let's just fill it a little bit randomly here. Maybe like just 2 of them here and 2 more right here. So yeah, I think this looks pretty good. Again, don't forget to make it neutral hostile. If you have natural passive or something, then you won't be able to really fight with them. Of course, you will be still able to kill them with attack move, but or I mean direct attack, but they won't fight you back, so it would be kind of stupid, let's say. But actually right now I will swap to neutral passive because I want to add one more thing that will make it look much better when you are using spiders, and that will be actually here in the catacombs, and uh, in buildings, if you scroll down, you will find a spider web. So as you can see, it's just a web that you can use. You can rotate it with Control and left mouse button, and it's really good if you use it like this and you connect it to the trees. Yeah, you can also maybe disable the F6 so you can see it a little bit more clearly, but also don't forget that you will need a free space to place it. Yeah, there is actually one option that you can use. That's the force place option here, and if you choose it, you can actually place it like here or something. But since I didn't use it at all in this mission yet, I think I will just stay without this force place option and use it like this, so we can really control it just with this option. So I mean it will be pretty fast. I will just add some of those on each tree, and then we will move on. Maybe it doesn't look too good on this huge tree. Yeah, that's the big pine, I believe. So let's just ignore that for now and cover it a little bit with some webs. As you can see, it's really increasing the whole atmosphere, because if we have spiders, there will be usually lots of webs. So without it, it wouldn't look too good. But if you use this, then it will be much better, I believe. Of course, it's meant for the catacombs, yeah. So if you create an underground that will be made of catacombs, then you can definitely use it there as well. But as you can see, you can place it anywhere, and I mean it looks good anywhere if you have some spiders there, yeah. And especially if you have like those dead trees, yeah. Really, you are trying to create a creepy environment of this forest, then it will look really good if you use those webs. So that's just a small tip here. You can also add it closer to this big tree, but I'm not sure if it will look too good, because you can see it's not really visible there, because this big tree has like a really high area down here that's full of some rocks and branches, so you cannot really see through it, and it's not really visible. But I mean, you can still place the web there. The advantage of those webs is that if you place it, you can still walk through it, yeah, so you are not blocking anything, so you can put basically any amount of those webs there. But as you can see, if I place it here, I cannot place anything else on that position, even though I can still walk through it. So keep that in mind if you want to place some more things later on those positions. So yeah, while I was talking, I think I finished it quite well. So let's just save it once again, and let's move on. I believe this is basically everything on the surface, and yeah, the underground we kind of finished in the last mission. Yeah, as I promised, I mean, last mission, last video. As I promised you, in the end of the last video, I will show you how to actually change the lights in this underground, so it actually looks like an underground. But as I mentioned, we'll do that in the end of the video. So first, let's actually focus on players first. So I will start with the player 3, because it's really easy to adjust something here, because it's like an open space, and we will add some starting units. Uh, I believe I already mentioned that in the last video, that we will just make a normal empire and beast enemies. Yeah, maybe with some like a hero or something, but nothing too complicated. And then I will probably adjust some units for the player 1, which will be the actual player that we will play as. So that will be just to show you how you can change those units and everything, but I don't really want to make any like new factions or races or anything, because that would take a little bit too long, and I don't want to make this series like unnecessarily long. So let's just start with Empire units. We will add some swordsmen definitely. Yeah, make sure that you have the right player selected, either by clicking here and player 3 or pressing Shift and 3 on your keyboard. And again, we will rotate him. You can see the rotation number here. So 180 should be the perfect angle for us. And or actually we might actually rotate him this way, so 135, and make like a small army, maybe 15 swordsmen here, and the same, we will do the same on the other side, so 225 rotation, and again 12 or 13 or I mean 15 should be enough. So that will be like the first army that will be defending here. Then we want to definitely also add some ranged units. So let's just add some elf rangers. Again, we are using the same rotation, and actually let's just use maybe small space here, and we can add let's say 12 archers on both sides. So it won't be like a super strong army, but you have to keep in mind that there will be more units that the enemy will be creating and attacking with, and also there is the second enemy. We don't really have enough space here, but I mean I can still fit it there. There is just, I always like to keep some free space there, but I mean once we use those triggers for defending armies and positions, then the units will adjust their positions anyways, so we don't really have to worry about that. Let's also make some pikemans. We have to keep in mind that those walls can be destroyed by the player, and since you can walk through this forest, you can also attack from all those other sides. So I also want to definitely add some units here. So let's maybe create like group of, let's say, maybe even 20 pikemans, so that's like a quite big army, let's say. And I also want to have some knights here, so maybe like 15 knights here, so that looks pretty okay. We also have some cathedral and temple here, so we'll also place some priests, maybe like 6 priests here, and maybe 6 more behind those knights. I think that will be good. And I mean, we don't really need Dryads, yeah, that's not really a fighting unit. Same applies to Phoenix. He won't need to reveal anything because I'm not like a beast with some stealth units or something, so I don't think he will really need Phoenixes, and I mean he could still reveal it with those towers. But since I made this Valkyrie beacon and some Elven Sanctuaries in the last mission, we'll definitely want to make some Valkyries here. So let's just place like 9 of them here, and maybe some of them in the front as well. I will just move this neutral bird so he's not interfering with this whole army. And again, maybe just 6 of them will be good. We can place 6 more here, and of course there will be some more for the attacking army later. And also we'll place some catapults, so as I mentioned you can attack from here, from left, so it might be a good idea to have some catapults here, like 8 of them, and maybe even some of them here. So let's just rotate it once again and place like maybe again 8 of them here. I want to leave some small space so the enemy can actually attack me. We won't really need the Gnome Arc. We didn't make anything that wouldn't be accessible by foot anywhere, so I mean it's okay. I mean we could adjust it and create like a small space here with an expansion that you could fly there with gnome arcs and those kinds of stuff, but I mean, it's quite small mission, so I don't think you really need that expansion. You can expand in the underground, and then once you defeat one enemy, you can take his expansion. Let me just check the resources. Yeah, we have enough resources in everything, so I mean, it should last for some time easily. Again, Steambird not really needed. Dire Bear Miner Team again, same thing. So let's just also add some mages because we also placed the obsidian tower here. So maybe we can add like let's say 6 of them here, and maybe even 6 here. Yeah, I think like this it's pretty okay. I mean, we have still lots of space, which is really good. Maybe I might place something here as well. So maybe some more swordsmans. Again, we have to make the right rotation, which is 270. And we will add like 8 swordsmans and 8 elf rangers. So we can easily defend this side as well. Or I mean, the enemy can defend it. So yeah, I think this looks pretty good, and we can easily move to the second player, which is player number 2. So again, I will change the player up here, and of course this is the beast town. So let's go to beast units. We already placed minions and barons, so let's go for some warriors. I mean, we can again, we have to rotate everything. I mean, you don't have to rotate it, but I always like to do that because it looks better, at least in the editor. And if you want to edit something, then it will be much easier if you have the right rotations and let's say groups and everything, formations. So I'm just making it easier for me to change it later, or if someone decides to adjust the map, it will be much easier for him to adjust it. We will add some berserkers and warriors here. Of course, if you decide to go to tech 3 and change for the player 2 in researches, the upgrade that will upgrade to berserkers, yeah, berserker training. If you check it here like this, so you see the green there, then all of those warriors will be transformed to berserkers anyway. But if I don't check it there, then he can have both some warriors and berserkers, and I don't have to worry about that. So if you are creating triggered AI, you don't really want to upgrade those upgrades that will actually change the whole unit. We'll also add some goblin hunters, so maybe like 12 here, and maybe like 4 witches here. Since we decided to place also some lizard fortresses here, or at least one of them, we can also add some lizard units. So let's add 12 striders here, and actually let's move the wildlife a little bit here, and also some warlocks, so maybe like 6 of them. That should be enough, and also some wyverns. So as you can see, both of our enemies will have some flying units. As you can see, even though the unit is flying, it's still creating those flat spaces on the ground that might destroy your landscape. So always have to keep that in mind and check it, maybe repair it if you destroy something this way. I also want to add some ogres. So again, let's move the wildlife a little bit. I mean, you can create a wildlife after you place those units, so you don't have to adjust it like this. But I mean, the adjusting is much better for me. I feel more comfortable to just move one rock or something than placing units blindly without knowing anything about the landscape yet. So yeah, do it as you prefer, but this is the way I like to do it. And of course we'll also add some trolls. So again, we create some space and let's make like 8 trolls here. Yeah, there is definitely a little bit less space than the green enemy have in his town, so it will be much harder for the armies to sort somewhere, but I think we'll still be able to do that. We can also make some manticore riders, but here it's really important to remember that if I don't make him the upgrade in manticore lair, then manticore riders won't be even able to shoot on ground units. So then it will be only unit against my flying units. So probably don't want to put many of them, even though I will actually probably decide to give him that upgrade so he can actually fight me on the ground as well. So let's maybe add some of them like in the back or something, uh, or maybe even in the front. That might be also interesting. Maybe like 6 of them somewhere, maybe in the middle. Yeah, let's make it like this. Yeah, and we don't want to give him any demons. We could also make some goblin riders. So let's add like 8 of them here. And actually now when I'm thinking about it, maybe let's move those manticoras back in here, and we'll just adjust the ground like this. So yeah, I think this is quite good. So we also have the player 2 done, and basically the only thing that's left here now is the player number 1. So again we will change the player, save the process, and I think I mentioned in the last video that I want to give player 1 a captain, so let's actually do that. I will make him a hero, yeah, so I mean not make him a hero, but I will make him a little bit stronger. So he has more HP damage and also some abilities, but I don't think we will really fit that in this video yet, so I will just place him here. We also don't have the name yet. We'll probably do that in the 8th step when we will think about the story and all those kinds of stuff. But maybe we can also place like at least like 2 units here. That might be interesting. So let's add a swordsman here, and maybe we might also give the player 1 maybe like a elf sentinel or something. So it will be like not just a human race, but a combination of elves and humans. That will be a little bit more interesting. But as I said, we will change those units later. So now, as I promised you, we'll go to underground and work on the lights. We'll also adjust lights for surface later, but I will do that probably after we do the whole trigger editor and those kinds of stuff, because it's much easier to see like this, yeah, and we'll have to place some locations here and everything, so you don't want to place like a fog there or something, because that would make it just more difficult for you for no reason. So we'll keep it like this, but the underground of course is a little bit different. So first thing you want to do is to go to sets here, which is the tab on the right, and here you will choose light, and then you will scroll down and you will find this option. Yeah, you have 3 options in light. You have terrain material, terrain light, and object light. So we'll just start from the top. You will open the ambient color in terrain material, and you will just drag this value to the left. So as you can see, everything gets much darker, and you will basically do that for all of those colors. So as you can see, everything turns black. You can do the same for the terrain lights, and basically right now we have no light here. You can still see the entities, I mean objects, that will help us a little bit to place lights. So what you want to do is go to the second tab from right, and that will be the lights tab. And here you will just click this button, and it will bring this globe, let's say, on your mouse cursor. So right now I know that I have the cave edge around those trees, so I will just choose a place. As you can see, if I bring it too close, it will jump on the cliff, so I need to be under it, and I want to place it here. And as you can see, it created a small light that's making everything visible. You can again move it a little bit, but we'll probably keep it like this for now. And you can also adjust the maximum radius and minimum radius. The maximum radius is this big circle around, yeah, so if I move it, you can see it's increasing and creating more light. And the minimum radius is the small globe inside of it. So if you increase it too much, you will see this really strong light. That's usually not really useful for you. If you are creating just light in the cave, yeah, it might be interesting. If you want to place like a big light on some statue or something, then you can really use the minimum radius, but right now we will decrease it basically not to 0, but make it really small. And we can also a little bit increase the maximum radius. You can also play with the colors. Yeah, the diffuse color is the main that you want to really care about. Right now we have like light blue light that's really good for caves, so you can definitely make something like this, or you can maybe go for something more like a fire or something. It really depends on the vibe that you want to give to that cave. So it might also look like this. That would be also pretty good. But I think I will stick with the blue light here because I like it a little bit more. So let's just place it around. Also keep in mind that if you have the minimum radius a little bit too huge, then it might make weird lights on those trees, or even if you build your town hall here later for this expansion or some other buildings, and you have the light in the way of that building, then it will create really weird light on that building. So even though it might look good right now, you really don't want to have that minimum radius too big. So as you can see, I will just go around this edge, create some line of light. Yeah, if you are not sure how it looks like, you can just press spacebar or click this button, and you will see the whole map without those lights, so you can see if it looks good. Yeah, if it's wrong color or something, or you left like a black space somewhere, you can go and adjust it, maybe move the light or create another one. You can overlap them, anything else. Oh, just play with it, and eventually it should look pretty okay. Yeah, so it's just a really simple process right now. You'll just go around the cave, create lights everywhere. Of course, if you show this to someone who doesn't know how it works, it looks quite complicated and intimidating. But once you get used to it, you will see that it's actually pretty easy. You will just place those lights there, and it will be pretty simple. Of course, now I went around the edge, but if I remove it, you can see that we have some black area here. So I will just add one more light, and now it looks really good. So let's just add some more lights here, and we should be finished pretty soon. So I think like this, everything is covered quite well. Yeah, you can leave some darker spaces. Yeah, maybe it's not like huge light here, but I mean, you don't have to walk there, so you don't really have to worry about that. And as you can see right now, it really looks like a cave. There is one more thing you can do if you have those mineral fields or even gold fields, yeah, anything related to resources. You can maybe add the light here, decrease the height, yeah, place it right above the field, and then you want to add maybe like a little bit darker blue color, so maybe something like this. And then when we decrease the maximum radius and increase the minimum radius, also you want to change the specular color, then you can really create a really nice glow around that mineral field. So that's maybe something that you might also try. Of course, that's definitely not something that will be required, but as you can see, it's just a little bit more interesting. So if you want to do that, you definitely can. It's just a small tip how to use those lights as well. Of course, if you have like a gold field, you will change the color to yellow and etc. So yeah, this is pretty okay. Now we can go back to our lights in the set option, and here in the object slide you can adjust the lighting a little bit here as well. As you can see, it's changing right away in real time, so you don't have to click OK and then check it. So we can definitely play with it a little bit. Of course, we have like a little bit lighter blue here, so let's just make it like this, maybe a little bit darker, and just play with it so it looks the way you want. Of course, we don't want to have it too blue, but maybe like this it might looks pretty okay. Yeah, maybe it's a little bit too strong, so you can just decrease the saturation here and it will look a little bit more natural. Of course, trees are a little bit harder to make those lights on them, but I mean units are probably a little bit more important for you. We can also decrease the lightness here a little bit, so it's a little bit darker, and maybe a little bit also this one. And then we can play with this again, so we can decrease the blue color, but maybe we don't want it to disappear all the way. So maybe like this. Yeah, it's quite gray, but I mean, actually let's just play some swordsmen here. That will be probably the best unit to look at. So as you can see, it's a little bit too dark, so we'll go back and maybe increase this, and also we can adjust this one. Actually, this is, let's make this blue as well, or like gray or something. Yeah, you don't want to make it too dark, because then you might not even recognize what unit is which unit is which one. So be really careful, but I mean, if you don't change it at all, that it might also look a little bit weird in the cave. But if we keep it like this, I think it looks pretty good. The last thing you can add in the cave is, I mean, the last thing that will make sense, because placing like rain or snow in the cave wouldn't make too much of a sense. So the last thing that you can place here is fog. So yeah, you will just choose fog, and then here you have to click on distance, adjust the color. So since we have like a light blue theme here, I will just create something similar, click OK, and then you want to bring the start to somewhere around 10, yeah, maybe like 12 or something, or even 15, and then you want to bring the end towards the numbers like 60 or 70, and as you can see, it will create this really nice fog theme. Yeah, and if you scroll too close, you won't even see it, because it's starting in the height 15 and it's going all the way up to 70, which is way further than you can zoom out in the game. So you will see it really lightly, something like this. Yeah, so nothing too impactful, but it will make the whole atmosphere a little bit stronger. So yeah, this is basically the underground here. I will just save it again, and that will be everything for this video, because again it's already over half an hour, actually maybe even the longest video yet of this series. But we managed to place all those entities that I wanted, yeah, all those neutral ones, and for players, at least those AI players. And in the next video we'll probably figure out the stats for our hero, let's say captain, and other units, and overall we will make a plan for all units that you want to create as player one, maybe adjust it so you can actually create units like Elf Sentinel. And if we have some spare time, then we will also already start with the trigger editor. If not, then we will basically move it to the next video, and then we will finish it with the trigger editor. And of course, then we have the last step, that will be some story quest messages and animations, which is of course again a little bit more complicated. And of course, don't forget that we still didn't have named this map. So if you have some ideas how we could name this map, or even some units or something, you can definitely let me know in the comments. And if I didn't pre-record the video yet, I might also use some of your ideas. So yeah, take care, guys.